Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's Dealer eProcess webinar. And it is all about mastering next-gen analytics in Google Analytics 4. My name is Eliana Raggio. It's my pleasure to be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by Dealer eProcess. For anyone who isn't familiar with Dealer eProcess, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency best known for our world-class customer service, the highest converting website designs in the industry, and automotive's only connected retail platform. Want to know more about that? Yes, of course you do. So go visit us at dealereprocess.com. And we have an awesome show in store for you today. We are very pleased to have the one and only Brooke Furniss as our presenter today. Brooke Furniss is the founder and CEO of BZ Consultants Group, a firm that specializes in providing objective and unbiased performance assessments of digital vendors for dealerships to help achieve goals and improve profitability. With over a decade of experience, she is skilled at turning complex data into actionable insights that maximize dealership profits. Brooke is also host of the weekly Facts Not Feelings podcast, helping dealers to learn, grow, and move the auto industry forward. Brooke is a committed advocate for the car biz with deep industry knowledge and a passion for education. And she can be reached at brooke@bzconsultantsgroup.com. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, we're going to try to respond by email later today. Also, don't forget, a link to download a copy of this webinar recording is going to be emailed to you later today for your reference. Feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues. Oh, guess what? Our great friends over at BZ Consultants Group are giving away a sweet, sweet prize today. One lucky webinar attendee is going to win a dealership digital deep dive, say that 5 times fast, with BZ Consultants, an in-depth review to unlock unparalleled insights into your dealership's online dynamics and expert strategy session to pinpoint areas for growth and opportunity. This prize is valued at $600, but you have to be on the live broadcast to win it. So stay tuned for your chance to win this cool prize today. All right, everyone, let's get started. Let's learn all about mastering next-gen analytics in Google Analytics 4. Brooke Furniss, longtime listener, first-time presenter. What is going on, Brooke?
So excited right now. It was a little dicey in the beginning there, Eliana. I'm not going to lie, a little dicey there, but we made it, and I think we're good to go now. Very excited.
We are good to go. And you know what? You're coming at us with arguably one of, if not the biggest news stories in digital automotive for 2023, which was we went away from Universal Analytics, or otherwise known as GA3, and now into GA4. And it has caused a little bit of an uproar, lots of excitement, and a heck of a lot of head scratching. So we're so excited that you're here today to tell us all about the kinds of things that we need to know about Google Analytics 4 and how we can use it to get our dealerships to the next level. And I know you have so much to go over, so I'm just going to shut up right now. Brooke, take it away.
All right. Yeah. We're going to try to get through this as quickly as possible. I have been told I'm a fast talker, so I'm going to use that to our advantage today and get through this as quickly as possible, as thoroughly as possible. If you have questions, definitely throw them in the chat. As Eliana said, if we don't get to them, we will get to them later, because this is something that I jokingly but not jokingly said. If you're from the Midwest, my Benny's Beverage Depot bill has skyrocketed. It has led me to drinking more than normal and no sleep at all. So we definitely feel your pain. So let's dive into this. I definitely want to take a poll first, though, to see where everybody is sitting with, and Eliana, I think you do the poll on this one, right? Is that correct?
I do. I'll take care of it. All right. Okay. Brooke wants to know, and just so you know, we have 3 poll questions. So this is our first one of the day. So we want to know, who set up your Google Analytics 4 property? Who did that? Please select one of the following answers. Was it your digital marketing manager or somebody like that inside your dealership? Did you do it with an ad agency? Was it your website provider? I know Dealer eProcess does it for a lot of people. Did you do it yourself? Hey, that's cool too. Or you know what? You're just here to learn from the amazing Brooke Furniss, whatever you can pick up, and you really don't know who set up your Google Analytics 4 property. Once we have a majority of the votes in, we're going to close this poll and share the results. And darn it, my audience Brooke, can I just tell you, my audience is amazing. We have
Of
already
course.
gotten, I know, right? Already gotten a majority of the votes in. I'm watching the numbers climb, climb, climb. So I'll tell you what, audience, I will give you another 5 to 8 seconds to get your votes in. We want to know who set up your Google Analytics 4 property. Who set it up? We got other questions later on, but this is what we want to know right now. Brooke specifically said, I need to know the answer to this question. So Brooke, if you're ready for the answers, I will close this poll and share the results.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Audience,
Bring it.
thank you so much for your participation in this poll question. All right, 7% of today's audience said, yeah, it was our digital marketing manager inside our dealership, only 7%. The majority, however, 31%, left the honor of the Google Analytics 4 setup to their ad agency. That's interesting. 21%, so just over a fifth of today's audience, said it was their website provider. 27% said they did it themselves.
Good for you all. Dang.
Right. Wowza. Honestly, that's more than I thought.
I applause to everyone out there.
And then 14% said, I don't really know. We did have a couple comments. David Sharp said, I did it myself, but I'm also the marketing director.
Of course he did.
Point taken, Sharpie, got it. And then Candace wrote in, and I am just here to learn from the absolutely amazing Brooke Furniss.
Love you, Candace. And I venture to say the website provider on these ones, if the website provider did it, I'm going to venture to say a few of those happen to be DEP website providers on that. So thank you, DEP, on that one. All right, let's get this thing rocking and rolling, because and once again, thank you, everyone. I like to get a feel, and why is this thing not going? There we go. To feel of like where everyone is sitting, because I deal with so many clients across the nation, and even colleagues and friends that are trying to set that up. And they're like, I don't even know who set this up or how it got set up, or there's now 4 different properties. I don't know which property I'm supposed to be using. So I so appreciate everyone taking the time to fill it out. So let's jump in this. And I was laughing at Eliana as I put this together. You can see by like when I originally did this deck that it was the founding member of 2022. I was like, well, okay, well, we founded it in 2022, so we're going to roll with this nice little logo over here. But if you've been doing this long enough and you're in this, you probably have heard the terminology of automotive standards counts. If you haven't, or if you happen to watch George Nenne's presentation on this, I want you I want to reiterate this once again, because it is that important. So going back to this, what is the automotive standards council and why is it so important? So I took the screenshot, and since then I know there's been more companies and businesses that have come to the table and say, hey, we want to be a part of this. So what is it and why is it so important? When it first started, I think there was about 75 companies, and then it was 80 companies. Now it's about 100 companies that have reached across the aisle and said, hey, we want to be a part of this council. We want to be a part of this movement to say, if you're, and you know anything about Google, is that Google out of the box analytics, whether it's GA4, Google or UA, GA3, whatever Google Analytics it was, it's not great for automotive. It's great for e-commerce, but not so much for automotive. So Brian Pash said, hey, everyone's trying to go in the right direction, but we need to standardize this stuff. So he said, let's have a council, and everyone, we're all going to work together. So you've got competing advertising companies, you have competing website companies, and everybody's like, hey, we're going to come together and we're all going to standardize the data layer. We're going to standardize this automotive standards spec. So once again, you have 100 plus companies, you have 36 GA4 standard events, you have 50 plus custom event parameters. And if you're thinking to yourself, Brooke, you're throwing around a lot of terms that is just like a foreign language to me, don't worry, I'm going to get later on in this presentation what all this means. And if you're familiar with it, kudos to you, you're way ahead of the game, and I'm super, super proud of you. So if you're someone like myself that has a consulting company, or maybe you are in your dealership, in your dealership group, and you have a dealer eProcess site, you have a dealer on site, you have a dealer Inspire site, and you're trying to figure out, wait, I'm in Google Analytics 4 right now, and I can't remember, is this site for the DEP site, or is this a dealer? And you're constantly like trying to go from Google Analytics and then back to the site and figure out which site is which, or maybe you're like, which widget belongs to which company. You can find all of that inside of Google Analytics 4 right now. Now, I say all that to say is that you're going to hear me multiple times throughout this entire presentation say, Google Analytics 4 right now is like this really angry toddler that just decides, I'm tired, I need a nap, I'm not going to work, because Google is still building this plane as it's taking off. And so if you get in there and you're like, wait, how come this doesn't work? And you think that it just might be user error. Now, it could be user error, or it could just be Google is throwing a tantrum and not working. So as you go through all this, just be patient. There's so many people that are willing to help and say, hey, I can help you with this. And hey, you're not crazy. It's just Google's not working. I was joking with Eliana as I was working on this deck to say, for the last 3 weeks, I haven't been able to find this report, and this hasn't been working because Google's not working. So if you're in that boat right now, you're not alone. So I say all that to say, Automotive Standards Counselor, we're going to get into show how this works, how you can find these events, and a bunch of best practices on how to find things. All right, let's keep this thing rocking and rolling.
Yeah, and both of our companies are in the ASC. I know DEP was a founding member, and so we are all over the ASC and the standards that they've set for us moving forward.
And not only that, as I'll get into a little bit later on here, is how you all even took it one step further, and any DEP customer should be thanking you all significantly. So, and I personally thank you for any of my clients or DEPs. I just think
we love our customers.
Thank you. You make my job a lot easier. So what is GA4? There's a lot of words on this slide. I'm not going to read them all because you all are very capable human beings that can read left to right and down, up and down. So you're all very capable. I took this straight from Google. And the main bullet points here is that Google GA4 is the next generation of analytics, as you can read the first part here, which collects event-based data from both website and apps. So all that to say is that the biggest difference when it comes to GA4 is it's based on event-based data. So before there were so many other ways to find stuff, but it's event-based. It's based on a new type of property. You're thinking of user properties and event properties. You're always thinking reporting first. And when you're looking at like sessions and stuff, you can still find that, but it's just a little bit different on how its reporting is done. So engagement and events are really, really big. You're free to read the rest of this, but I wanted to pull this straight from Google. Also, if you're paying for 360, Google 360, you're the lucky ones because you didn't have to migrate over to this right on July 1st and you had another year. So you're very, very lucky. We'll just leave it at that. For the rest of us that had the free version, you are all going through this nightmare with all of this. There's a lot of new terminology, a ton of new terminology. I promise you're not being tested on any of this. It's there. I want you to be aware of this. We're going to do a live session, a live demo of all of Google Analytics 4, and I'll show how, if you're unfamiliar, if you hover over any of this, it's going to tell you what these are. So if you forget, it's not a big deal. It's right there for you. But I just want to go through it so everyone's aware of this. So wherever you are, if you're at the beginning stages, hey, I'm just barely logging in, versus hey, I've been doing this for the last 2 years, you're covered. So first and foremost, users stay the same. User is someone that visits the website multiple times, is defined by a device ID, versus a new user is someone that's visited the website for the first time, is defined by that analytic, that cookie, the browser cookie. So it can show up a new user. Someone like myself, every time I close out of my browser, my cache and cookie is going to be cleared. So I'm always going to show up as a new user, even though I may have visited before, I look like a new user. This is where things change a little bit. With BZ Consultants, we've been tracking engagement for as long as we've been around, but now Google actually tracks this, which is so great. I don't really care. Oh, great, it drove 700 sessions, but what happened? What happened on that page? Were they engaged with the page? Did they click on the page? Did all those people are so concerned about bounce rate? Well, bounce rate can get manipulated like crazy. So now we're looking at the engagement on it. So the engaged session is going to be whether the session lasts longer than 10 seconds, includes at least one conversion, or includes more than 2 page views. So we want to know that of those sessions, were they actually engaged at all on that page? Were they engaged at all in that session? Like, what did they do? And then engaged session per users. And I know you're probably thinking, Brooke, you told me there wouldn't be math on this. There's a little bit of math, but Google's doing it for you. Engaged session per users is the total number of session per users averaged by the total user count. Once again, you don't need to worry about this. Google's going to do it for you, so you don't have to do the math. Engagement rate is calculated by dividing the number of engaged sessions by the total number of total sessions. So once again, Google calculates this for you. You can figure it out. Now you have a better understanding of all the traffic that's being driven to you when you're looking at, hey, was this traffic source that's being sent all this traffic to me, if it's not really engaging, do I really want to keep using them? Probably not. And we'll get into some examples later on. Then we have more terminology. Data Studio, because now they call it Looker Studio. And for me, I just honestly can't call it that because I feel like a dirty old man every time I call it that. So I can't call it that. But it's now pulling in two different attribution models for reporting. One caveat to Data Studio. While Data Studio is great, there's still hiccups with that as well. So just if you're having issues with that or you're struggling, you're not alone in this. It's almost like I feel like a therapy session. You're not alone. User traffic source versus session traffic source. I like to think of this as your first touch versus your last touch. Think of it like that. So your user traffic is going to give traffic credit to the first source of traffic that caused the first traffic to visit your website, versus the session traffic is going to give credit to that last source. One thing with this, and this is something that is because Google is still trying to figure out what Google is and having some, it's like when UA first came out and it took about a year for it to normalize. If you're looking for auto trader traffic or cars.com traffic, let's say, can you find it in user traffic and session traffic? Yeah, you can. If you're having a rough time trying to find all of that traffic, look at two things. One, thresholding. Thresholding is a whole other beast of a situation that Google is having issues with. That can be number one, why you can't find all your third-party traffic. Number two, what we have found is if you're trying to find third-party traffic, it might be under the session traffic, which doesn't make a lot of sense because if they're on AutoTrader and they go directly to your website, shouldn't it be under user traffic? Logically, that's where it should be, but it could be under session traffic. But then if your thresholding's there, then thresholding's not letting all the traffic be there anyway. So there's just these little like nuances where you can't find the traffic, and it might be, well, part of it's under user, parts under session, but then thresholding. So there's just some nuances there that we're all trying to figure this out together. And I just want to make sure everyone's aware of why you might not be finding that traffic and why it might not be there. And some of it might be out of your control. So also with reporting, there's two different types. There's reports and there are explorations. Caveat with reports, if you're trying to save reports and it's not saving, it's not your fault. That is another glitch with Google Analytics 4. They're having issues with saving. I multiple times thought I was doing something wrong and it was just not saving. It's just a glitch with Google. At some point it'll get there and you'll be able to save, but for the time being, if you're having that issue, you're not alone. The other similarities that you're trying, hey, I'm trying to make the same report that I had in UA. You can do it in reports, just know that might not save. There's also some ability to create custom reports. If you want a little bit deeper dive, you want to get in the weeds, that's where exploration is going to come into play, where you need that. I just want to get a little bit deeper in finding that data, get into explorations. All right, now we're getting to the fun part of, okay, what is the difference? So I had UA, we've talked a little bit about it, but now I've got GA4. You can see on the left here where Universal Analytics, really all you were looking at was, I can see a little bit. But with GA4, you're literally seeing every hover, swipe, and click. So GA4 fundamentally is going to be it's event-based and not just session-based. Sessions just become another thing on the list that we can measure. You're seeing everything. So as you can see on the right here, if I want to see session event, I want to see page event, I want to see the CTA event, I want to see form submission. This is just an example, but you can see everything versus on the left, on UA, I would see session 1, I'd see session 2. That's it. So you're no longer limited by these pre-built structures of Universal Analytics. And we're free to add just about any event when we need to see what we want to see and then measure all of this. So it's really, really robust on the things that we're able to see. Going back to UA. So on UA, Universal Analytics, GA3, whatever you feel like calling it, you had 3 main data points that we were able to measure: category, action, and label. Those are the 3, right? Like those, and even with that, they had people going rogue, people calling it what they wanted to. They wanted to see their name and stuff, threw off analytics, people not following the, we try to go with CPE. Shout out to DEP that actually followed it. To this day, they continue to follow it. Now you got GA4. Thank you, DEP, for continuing to do that. But there's only so much you can measure. So in this example, we had event category being consistent with certain people or certain vendors or people throwing the wrong stuff or not following protocol. And it might include the product name or vendor. The event category, which was almost always consistent across web providers and third parties. Then, like I said, you could throw the product name in there. Then people like to hack it. Oh, I can get your bounce rate down to 2%. Well, if your bounce rate is 2%, then what's the point? Like, that's not even right anyways. So people would try to manipulate this a little bit. Then you had the event label. So let me go back here. So the event, and this one was a button click. Then you have event action. So the name of the event, and sometimes it wasn't even an action, but they would say it was an action. Then you'd have the label. So all these data points you're trying to throw in there, and it would just jam it all into one little area and be like, okay, Google, good luck parsing this, which made it super, super difficult. So personalize my payment. Now, this is a good example, but there are other ones that would just, it was just like gobbledygook coming through there. With GA4, that's not the case. And I'm going to get into in the next slide here. But what I want to, before I go into the next slide here, I want to just talk how insanely important it is when it comes to UTM tags. If you're unfamiliar with UTM tags, this is where Google says, okay, it came from, the source was Google and the medium was, hopefully, I'm hoping this crowd, I think, Eliana, at this point is pretty smart. I think we know what the source and mediums are. This has changed. Before we had like 8 to 10, now we have like 20. And this all changed. So if you're looking at the screen and you're thinking, wait, what the heck is cross network? What is unassigned? What's paid other? Those weren't there before. You're correct. Someone like me who has a podcast, I can now have a podcast banner, which is going to flow into the audio for a channel grouping. For PMAX, we now have cross network. There's all these different channel groupings that we've got to make sure that we're tagging correctly, and it's way, way robust. Now, I'm hoping that I don't break the WebEx right now. I'm going to try clicking on this and really hope that it doesn't break. Let's see if it breaks. Well, hopefully it doesn't. So up here, we've got all the channel groupings right here. So unassigned, what you saw before was in the red box. This is really, really key because before we had other, by the way, can you still see this before I go any further?
Yes, you're doing good.
Okay. So other used to be the bucket when things weren't tagged correctly, it would flow into the other bucket. Either it was capitalized, hey, someone wants to put their vendor name in there, or they just don't want to follow things, whatever it may be. And now it's called unassigned. And this is really, really big because it's not tagged correctly. It's really difficult to find where it's being placed. And so it flows into the unassigned bucket versus what used to be the other bucket. Now, if I come down here, you can go to Google's, that's where how they tag things. I find that this article is a little bit better on explaining things. It's just, to me, it's a lot easier to understand it. But you can go through and see there's paid search now versus just paid. There's paid search, there's paid video, there's display, like there's the display before, there's cross network, which is PMAX. There's paid social, there's audio. There's so many more channel groupings. So if you're even mobile push notification, there's SMS, there's so many, there's a ton more. And this is just really, really important to understand because of how things are grouped now, to understand, okay, is this traffic good traffic? Is it engaging traffic? Because your unassigned traffic may be engaging, but to understand what traffic is that really, it just makes your job a lot harder. Okay, now we're getting to the fun stuff of how these events actually fire. So you have a CTA interaction. Now you can see who generated that traffic. Where did it happen? What triggered it? What happened? All of this information. So to take this a step further, it's not so much about the page views. And I know that we all are so triggered on, oh, I want to know the page views. I want to know what happened. We got to change our brains. It's about what is happening on that page. What is the consumer doing on that page? What events are triggering that page? It's about the customer experience on that page. The ability to A/B test is off the charts now. And it's like out of the gate, especially with dealer eProcess sites. Like I can't stress enough on dealer eProcess sites what you can do on these sites because of how dealer eProcess, what they have done for their clients is amazing. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on this podcast on this webinar right now. What they have done is amazing. So you get the same data points, but so much more. So in this example right now, I can see that who generated this event was dealer eProcess. Where did it happen? Well, It was an item list. That's what happened. The event action, oh, it was a click. What was the event action result? What was a slide out? Then I can see the element type was a digital retailing tool. I can see that the element text was personalize my payment. I can see that the button was was 0. I can see the element color. So in this case, let's say that, for instance, oh man, I'm really curious if I change that color, what if I change it to a darker blue? What if I change it to red? You know, what if I change it instead of personalize my payment? What if I did start my deal now? What if I change it? What if I'm in a group? We wanted to A/B test a little bit on different terminologies on each of our site. What if I move the button to a different spot? And I'll get into more A/B testing on things you can do just to kind of to personalize this a little bit and see how it would work. You also then are able to see everything about the vehicle from VIN to price to new to you, everything about the vehicle you are able to see. So you're able to understand more about whether it's the call to action, whether it's the car, the vehicle, everything about what's on the page, literally out of the gate. It's incredible what you're able to see right out of the gate, which I go back to this A/B testing is just astronomical what you can do with it. So I've talked enough. We need to do another poll, Eliana. You ready for this?
I'm ready. Audience, are you ready? Poll question number 2 is on the screen now. We want to know what you have for an answer to this. So the first time we said who set up your GA4. Now we want to know who set up your GA4 custom dimensions. Oh yeah, throwing a curveball at you. So please select one of the following options. Yeah, and if it looks familiar, they're almost the exact same options as last time. So our digital marketing manager, our ad agency, our website provider, you did it yourself. So for people like Sharpie, go ahead, put you did it yourself. And what the heck is a custom dimension, which if I'm not mistaken, Brooke, you are going to get into custom dimensions after this.
I am.
Right? Okay.
And you, Eliana, you know me well enough to know how hard it was for me to edit that last one.
I know. All right. So let me see what we got some questions. Questions are already coming in, which is fantastic. Yes. So audience, keep those questions in. We're looking forward to a really great Q&A session. Brooke, I would just want to remind you while these votes are coming in, technically we're already halfway through our hour together. Yes. I don't have a hard stop. I can keep going. I don't know if you can, but if you want to go past the top of the hour, because I know you still have a ton of information to get to, I'm okay with that. I just want to put that out there. I'll let you think about it. You don't have to give me an answer right now.
I'm good with whatever the audience is. I'm good with.
All right, fair enough. We do have a lot of people on here, so.
Yeah, ask the audience. Audience, as long as the audience is okay and they're okay with it, I'm good with it.
All right. Well, it is being recorded, and Delane said to keep going. So here we go. All right, audience.
Thank you.
I mean, I say we do what Delane says. Okay, so we're going to close this poll and share the results. Audience, thank you so much for your awesome answers. Here we go. 6% of today's audience said our digital marketing manager did it. Yeah. Again, ad agency, majority, 33%. A third of today's audience said their ad agency set up their custom dimensions. Good. 19% said it was their website provider. 18% said they did it themselves. I see you, Sharpie. And 24%, a quarter, said, what the heck is a custom dimension?
That one I expected. The ad agency, and I'm curious. But you know what?
That's why they're here, Brooke. They want to know what a custom dimension is.
I love it. I love it. And we should have now. I love seeing this because I also then I think we put we actually created this whole deck, and I created my own polls, and I'm like, did I actually put in there if they owned? Yeah. So no, I love this. I love this, and they'll lead into other things with this. So that gives me so much insight. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate that.
Excellent. And by the way, Laura also read in and she said, go as long as Brooke wants. This is gold.
Let's see you,
Laura. All right. So I'm going to return you back to your regularly scheduled deck, and let's keep going, Brooke.
Same bat channel, same bat time. Let's do this. All right. Okay, cool. All right. So we have talked about all of these ASC events, right? And this is just a portion of what happens on the website when these are firing, and firing. We'll say firing correctly is another big portion of that, right? So we're able to see page view, what the menu interaction is, what the click to call is. Now, click to call, we'll get into that a little bit. That's if you don't actually have a call tracking provider that is firing. but you're able to see element configuration, media interaction, retail process. You see all of this information firing. So no matter the page type, the ASC spec was designed to cover all automotive specs, or excuse me, all automotive events. Now we're only on 1.0, 1.1. I'm not going to say when it's going to be released because honestly, I don't know. But we're constantly saying, all right, what do we need to tweak? What do we need to do to better ensure that things are being covered? So like right now there's an issue, and I believe George covered this already, but I'm going to reiterate it for anyone that wasn't watching, or hey, I forgot about it. Like forms might be counting twice. So what can we do to better ensure that forms aren't being counted twice? Or what do we need to do to better ensure that this is firing correctly, or whatever it may be. So little things like that. But these are, like I said, these are only some of the events. But at the end of the day, we see everything that's on the website, and you couldn't see this on GA, regular Google Analytics. So practical uses, I said I would give more information on how to A/B test this. So we have a little menu on the side, right? We had the filters to say, all right, what's my gas mileage? I want to sort by gas mileage. I want to search by drivetrain. Now, I know Dealer eProcess does a pretty good job on personalizing things, and they do have a phenomenal tool at that. Maybe you don't have a Dealer eProcess site. Maybe you have another one, and not that the other sites are really good. I'm not knocking the other sites. I'm just saying you want to A/B test this, let's say. So you can now see that, wait a second, I can see that my miles per gallon, or maybe drivetrain, it's just not being searched. What if we move this to the bottom? Maybe trim's just not being searched a lot. Maybe a random something in your filters isn't being searched a lot. That's when you can A/B test this on the other sites. What percentage of people actually do a manual search? You can now search that. What if we took the lovely chat that pops up on mobile that drives us all freaking bonkers? What if we closed that on mobile? What if we took it off on mobile? What if we move it to the left? What if we move it to the right? What if we did a little cha-cha dance? Little things like that, like moving these things around. What if on mobile, and this is something I did back when I worked at a dealership, I took the freaking heroes that were on mobile that were not responsive, I just took them off our site. And I'll tell you what, our sites did better. Now, it was a little bit more difficult to see this because it was back in UA days, but what if we took those off our mobile? What if then we said, hey, what about on chat? Now on chat, it's going to come across as calm. That's how it's ASC calm. You can say on chat, how are they engaging with sales, service, parts? Are they ending in an appointment? You can check all that. Okay, let's take us another second. Let's take us some more here. Let's get some more ideas here. CTAs, we talked a little bit more. You can see what CTAs are performing best. How many people out there, this is rhetorical, and you can throw them in the chat as well, but the pop-up coupons that just pop up and it's whack-a-mole, are they actually doing well for you? Or are you just putting them on there because the OEM told you have to put them on there? If they are actually working for you, what if you change the CTA text, the actual text on there? What if you change it, instead of just fill out a form, because we all hate forms, but what if you change to say, we'll text you. We'll text you if you want a coupon. I bet that gets a little bit more engagement. You can now A/B test that. All of this stuff is now, you have the ability to now work with this and say, does this perform better? The other one that I want to touch on here, and I alluded to it in the very beginning there about the ASC click to call, and anybody that's on the counselor is like, Brooke, you can't have that one. Well, this is assuming that they don't actually have a call tracking provider. So if you have a call tracking provider and you're like, Brooke, we're not getting voice submission coming through. Why not? Our call tracking provider sucks. Okay, before you go and villainize your call tracking provider, slow down. Go ask your call tracking provider, hey, are you throwing and are you pushing the ASC events? Are you part of the council? Go through and ask them. If they say they are, the next question I want you to ask them and say, are you using AWS? AWS is an Amazon product. What happens is Amazon and Google do not like each other. So what happens with a lot of call tracking providers is that they are actually supporting the spec, but the problem is that when they throw the events into Google, Google says, I don't like it because it's Amazon. So while they're trying to support it, that's what happens. Or there's a bunch of other stuff. I don't want to get too geeky here, but a lot of things like that will happen is that they are trying to support it and they are supporting it, but it gets caught up in Google jail. So that's a very high level view of it, but just go ask them. And I'm going to, in a little bit here, show you another way of how you can go about and do all that. So those are a lot of things, but just be patient as whether it's the spec, whether it's Google, there are bumps along the way, but those are a lot of ways you can go through and say, hey, is this working? Is this working? I'm going to show you how you can say, hey, my chat provider says they're throwing it, but I'm not really sure if it's the chat provider or something that we can actually see who the owner of those events are. All right, so now
That
you're
is
looking
the
at
first time we've ever heard the words Google jail on the web.
I like to mix it up, Eliana. I like to mix it up. It's crazy though. Like I've seen so many people go straight to like just villainizing the whether it's the call tracking provider. I'm like, well, no, there actually are sending it, but Google is full out just saying I'm not going to accept it. And so whether you see the voice submission, but you can't see that it's getting, or they hit click to call, but it's connecting, but they can't see it's been connecting for so long or ended an appointment because of the fact that they're using AWS. And most call tracking providers use AWS. This is super frustrating. And it's not the call tracking provider's fault.
Right.
Okay.
So Laura wrote back in, she's like, Google jail? I totally feel this. LOL. Oh my God, I didn't mean to make you choke.
I literally took a drink at the same time. And that's recorded.
Got it on video. Yay.
So taking this a step further, beyond, like, I just can't stress enough how you literally can see everything. And I use the word literally because not as a filler word, that you literally can see every step of the journey here. Is that
okay? So you love Google Analytics 4. It's a huge
Oh,
step up from Universal.
It's a love-hate relationship. I love it when it works and it leads me to drinking at the same time. That's my, yeah, I love the fact that it's easy to search things, that I can find things, and then at the same time I want to throw my computer out the window and light it on fire. That's my answer.
Okay, but Google is making more, you said they're building the plane as it's taking off, right? So they're making more advancements on it, but the depth of the data is a huge step forward.
Huge
right?
step forward. Yes, yeah.
Okay.
It just, yeah, there are multiple times I'm throwing F-bombs and my husband's just like, Google? Yep, you're right. I'm like, why doesn't that work? I can't find anything. Yeah, and it's, well, and then there's also like the 72-hour delay. You go to find, it will say, if you want to see your live traffic, I'm like, it's not live traffic though. There's no way this is live traffic because there's a 72-hour delay in all reporting. So it's a love-hate relationship is the best way to phrase it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. So like something like this, to be able to see that the customer was a page view, the page type was item list, the customer went from there to get a quote, then they start on the chat. Okay, I saw they start on the chat, then what happened there? Oh, then they engaged, the chat was a sales, they engaged with our chat tool with the sales. Then from there, okay, they actually start, they send an appointment. Then from there, the customer now has an ID. And then from there, the outcome was they booked an appointment. So you can see every step of everything. Now I say all this is a perfect scenario that all the events are firing, that the business partner with whom you partner is sending all of those events and they're firing correctly, that the custom dimensions, which we're going to get in a bit, all of those are firing and set up correctly, and that Google hasn't decided to throw a tantrum. So yes, I love it, but everything has to be firing correctly. So love it and hate it all at the same time. So that brings us into the next poll here. This is another poll here, and I think this is the last of our polls, Eliana.
It is our last poll. All right, audience, you did so good on the first and second one. I have no problem putting this third question in front of you. So please get to your keyboards and let us know how many ASC events are currently in your Google Analytics 4 property. Please select one of the following answers: 0, 5, 10, more than 10, or what the heck is an ASC event? Once we get a majority of the votes in, we're going to close this poll and share the results. And while we're waiting for the votes to come in, I do want to say that when you were talking about thresholding, Sharpie wrote in with all caps, I hate thresholding. So
I'll drink to that.
He feels very, very strongly about this. And I dare say, I don't think he's the only one. So that being said, I feel your pain, my brother. Oh, Delane also said, I second that. We shall all have
Yes.
fireballs together on this. Okay, so
Yes.
audience, you are doing so good on your voting for this poll question. We already have a majority of the votes, and if you're ready, Brooke, I will close this poll and share the results.
Bring it. Sharpie, why
This
she's
is
bringing that up, I'm curious, do you hate thresholding more or the 72-hour delay more?
oh, Sharpie, you can answer that, or Delane while you're
Yeah.
there. Aaron said, I think y'all have had enough fireballs. David Sharpie says equally. Good to know.
Equally.
Good to know. All right. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Answers to the poll question. 12% said they have 0 ASC events. 10% said it's about 5. 16% said it's about 10. Now, this is where it gets interesting because 31% said they have more than 10, and 31% also said, what the heck is an ASC event?
Ooh.
So, like I said at the top of the show, there's a lot of head scratching going on
Yeah.
out there when it comes to GA4. Some
Mm-hmm.
people are diving right in and finding some answers, and other people are like, I don't get it. It's nothing like the old version. I don't think it's supposed to be. So, Brooke, what do we have to say about these results? What did you think? Is it what you thought?
Yeah, it is. Like, and that's obviously if you're a client of BZ, we are. That is what we're seeing as well. Like, obviously, we push pretty hard, and we have like a whole. This is what you're going to send to every one of your business partners. This is the exact verbiage you need to send. Make sure those events are firing. Make sure if they're not supporting the spec, this is what you're going to have to expect. Blah blah blah. And when you don't support the spec, this is what's going to happen. It more or less becomes a data hole. You cannot see anything. So it makes our job a lot harder to see it. You lose data, blah, blah, blah. So we're going to show you how to find that all, where you find where you find those events. And then I'm also going to provide a tracking sheet to say, all right, if you're a website provider, in fact, it's on the next screen here. In fact, we'll just go to it. How about that? Let's just dive into it. Let's just do this. Come on. Oh, I just lost my screen here. 1 second. Here we go. It helps if I get on their screen. All right. So this is why I wanted to put that poll right there, is that this is going to get into the maybe the geeky part of it a little bit here. But we've got on the left hand, little upper left hand here, we've got custom dimensions. The bottom left is the Google tracking sheet, what I'm going to get into. And then who's sending what, and am I ready? And if you've been in Google at all, you've probably seen a little bit of this here. So I'm gonna break these down into 3 different things here. So first and foremost, if you have admin right at all or edit access, you've maybe have seen this, maybe this is new to you, that you see this bar complete and you're like, why does it say 0 or does it say 100? If it says 0, please, please, please do not go and start marking everything off complete. I know it's going to be tempting to, but do not do that. And the reason you don't want to just willy-nilly go, first off, who says willy-nilly? But I just did. Don't just go and do that. The reason being is you want to have that conversation with your website provider and your ad agency. And if you're at the dealership, if you're an ad agency, and if you're a website provider, have that conversation with the dealership to say, all right, are we actually collecting the website data? Are we turning on Google Signals? And if you know anything, you see Google Signals and you probably just shuddered a little bit because you're like, freaking Google Signals. If you turn it on too soon, it throws off stuff. The setup conversions, in this example here, we went in and actually put on, we made sure the conversions were set up correctly, having that conversation with the website provider and the ad agency. Define audiences. Most dealerships don't have the audiences set up correctly, or they don't have them set up at all. If the ad agency or the website provider has put those, done them for them, they most likely haven't done them, or they just put in whatever Google did. And so it's incumbent upon the dealership and the ad agency to do them. So if you just mark it off, you haven't done them. So you need to say, okay, what are those audiences? Are they most likely, what are the top 5 geos that you're tracking? What is the, you want to have your Google business profile ones in there. So you need to have those done. Link to Google Ads. Do you have your ad accounts and properties? Do you have those linked? Are you bidding on the GA4 conversions? Are you targeting ads? Maybe you are, maybe you're not. You need to have that conversation. It also may be that they are done, but the website provider that set up everything used an API and it can't manually go through and check everything off. So have that conversation. I'm just going to repeat this and repeat this before you check everything off. All right, next one before I get to the GA4 tracking. You're going to see in the upper left-hand corner here, it says recommended parameters for custom dimensions. And I'm going to get into custom dimensions here in a second, but minimum are these ones. Now, there might be more that you're putting in there, like an OEM or OEM type or price or things like that, but these are the minimums that you want to have in there, and make sure they're in there. And I'm going to show you how to find those and how to make them and what have you. But those are the minimum ones you want to have in there. And the next ones are, it's this GA4 tracking sheet, which I'm going to pull up here in a second, which if you came in the very, very beginning, now we were having some, Brooke was having issues trying to get the GoToMeeting to work. You saw a sheet up here, the Google Sheet. That's what we're going to get into in a little bit here. But you want to know, okay, well, how do I even know if they're sending stuff to me, Brooke? You just keep saying, are the ASC events firing? Well, how the crap do I know? So when it comes to the call tracking companies, they need to be sending ASC _ voice _ submission events. Digital retailing companies should be sending ASC _ retail _ process. Chat and SMS companies should be ASC _ com _ submission. The QCon pop-up companies should be sending ASC _ special _ offer events. And server schedulers, which should be sending ASC _ form _ submission _ service _ appointment events. So now I'm going to, let's doesn't break on me. Here we go. All right. So every single person that attends today, I'm going to share this link with you all. First and foremost, before I get into this, please, please, please make a copy of this. Don't just take this and start working out of it, because anyone that has access to this then would be adding to this. Then everyone would see your measurement ID, all of your stream ID, your GA4 property, and then you're sharing your information with the world. So please don't do that. Make a copy of it. And then from there, what I want you to do is you're going to put your website URL in it. You're going to put your website provider. So we're going to go with your dealer eProcess provider, right? You're going to find your measurement ID, which I'm going to show you how to find that if you don't know how. You're going to say, all right, do I have any events in GA4, which I'll show you how to find that. And I think it's in the next slide here. Do I have any ASC events, which I'm going to show you how to find that. And how many do I have? All right, who is my chat provider? Maybe you have CarNow. Maybe you have somebody else. Maybe someone else. Maybe whoever it is. You're going to put it in there. Then from there, do I have events in GA? Is CarNow sending events into GA4? Yes, no, unverified. Will you send a request? Who is your digital retailing tool? Put them in there. And you're going to do this for every single person that is sending anything that resides on the website. Your call tracking provider, your trade-in tool, your service scheduler, your merchandising tool, and then you put your GA4 property. What this is going to do, it's going to keep everything really simple for you, so you know who is sending anything to you. If there's something else on here that you need to put on here, just add another column. But this gives you the core for what should be firing and what is sending events into your site. So once again, everyone's going to get a link to this. Please make a copy of it for your own security. Please, 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 please. Hopefully there's no questions on that one. All right, so I think the next slide is.
If you have the link, you could send it to me and I can send it to the entire audience right now. That being said, you know, I don't want to overlook the fact that the answer to the last poll question, 31% of today's audience said they didn't know what a custom dimension was. And I don't know if you have like a good working definition you could throw at everyone right now for that 31% and others who wouldn't actually admit that they didn't know what a custom dimension is?
It's in the next, not the next slide, the slide after that. I'm getting into it.
Got it.
Yep. I got y'all. I'm gonna do how we get to ASC events, because it was a two-parter, and then I will get in the custom dimension here. But yes, I got y'all. Don't you fret, little one. Don't you fret. With the ASC events, so in order to see if they're firing and if you have any, there's two ways to find them. So with the ASC events, if you're in GA4 and you go to, I don't know if you can see my mouse or not. So you're in the home screen, you click on the little reporting looking icon, looks like a graph, click on engagement, click on events. And if you go to a little search bar where it's highlighted there and type in ASC, you can see all the ASC events. I personally would take it to change the date range to 60 days. So give you a little bit more. But you can do it that way. Or if you want to see all the events ever, you go to admin on the right-hand side here, the big thing, and then go to events on the left-hand side, and then you can see all the events. And that is how I can see, do I have ASC events firing? And that's going to give you every single ASC event that's firing ever. So that's how you know whether you have ASC events at firing. So that's question one. The next question was about custom dimensions, right? And then this is gonna be custom dimensions and conversions. And Google makes it really, really difficult to understand, wait, you've got conversions, you have custom dimensions and custom definitions. They're super, super, super confusing. And I can't help you on that one. I don't know why they do that. So that one, I'm sorry, I can't help you on. Let's start with the events, and then we're gonna go into conversions and then custom dimensions. So we're gonna start at the right, go to the left, and work our way up. So the good and the bad of Google GA4 is it's super, super easy to mark an event to a conversion. So literally when you're on the event screen, you can just toggle it on. And you don't even have to have admin. If you have edit permission, you can toggle it on. So that's why a lot of, like, if anyone that knows me knows I've been really big advocate of owning everything. Like, it's really important. It's why you're seeing a lot of website companies say, we're not going to allow you to, it's not that they're not letting you own your ad account or your GA4 account. They're going to give you view access more or less, but they'll help you do everything. So they'll say you can make your own property. The reason for that is if anybody goes and toggles anything on, they can toggle anything on it. It can screw up your reporting. And that's the reason why now you do technically own it. If you ever do leave at one point, things happen, just request that they grant you the ownership back, and then you own it. So I just want to make sure everyone's aware of that one. Okay, now let's go back over to the left-hand bottom here. You can see that once you toggle something on the left-hand side over there, it's turned on. But you'll see in this example, wait, Brooke, there's a lot more things toggled on. Why is that the case? What happens is because there are things are still being working on to fire, and it might not be firing now, is that someone like myself or dealer eProcess will say, we're going to make these events already fire for you, or when it does start firing, we're going to make sure that they're already golden and ready to go. So we'll go in and manually create these events and turn them on. So when they do start firing, something like a voice submission or a video submission, we're going to toggle these on. And so they're toggled on even though you don't see them toggled on the right hand screen. So that's the difference. If you get in and you're looking at your custom, you're looking at your events and you go over to your conversion, you're like, why are they toggled on here and they're not over there? They've manually turned them on, so when they do start firing, they're ready to go. That brings us up to custom dimensions, even though it says custom definitions and Google keeps changing it. What this is and why they're so important is without setting up custom definitions or custom dimensions, whatever you want to call them, is that your reporting is not going to be robust, is not going to be able to, the easiest way to explain it without getting too geeky is that you have to have it to have the robust reporting. So things don't work as well. And that is the easiest way I can explain it without getting too geeky. And that's, I know that's not a great definition, but that's the best way I can explain it. In order to do it, if you go up to where it says create custom dimensions, everything here, it's not that it's really difficult to create, they're just time consuming. So if you're someone that has a dealer eProcess site, then you have a dealer on site, then you have a dealer eProcess site. The question I get asked a lot is, well, do I have to make different ones for each one? No, you don't actually. If you have a dealer eProcess site, thank you, dealer eProcess, because dealer eProcess created these for all of your sites. You can just go now and copy all of them. In order to copy them, if you just click on this little 3 dots there, just open it and you can just copy them. Not that you just copy and paste, but everything, if it's COM outcome, you're going to make the event and you're going to just copy it to be the parameter is going to be COM outcome. If it's COM status, the event, and then the user parameter is going to be COM status. So I'm going to show you on a couple how to do this. You're just going to do this for each and every single thing, but you want to make sure the dimension names matches the user parameter property. It's really, really key that these match each little thing. Now, for me, you can say what each of these mean, but you might not know what that means. So you might not know that COM type equals, what it actually means, or you might not know that element text is the CTA name. You might not know that. So to make it easy, just put element text and element text. It's up to you how you want to name it. To me, I just did it this way because it made the most sense. It really comes down to you. But the biggest thing here is that the element type and this have got to match. I cannot stress enough how important it is that those match. And also be patient that this changes a lot, like where you find this and how, like before you could go into, now you can go into here and it will take you to another spot. So if you go in here and it's not the same place, it's just because that Google Analytics keeps changing. I'm going to pause for a hot second. Are there any questions about that? Because I know there's a lot that just came out of everybody.
Well, we do have a lot of questions.
Okay.
I mean, I'm wondering if we shouldn't just keep rolling because we're
Okay.
already at the top of the hour and we have a lot of questions and I'd love to just hit them all
Okay.
back to back to back. So audience, you've been so patient and I see your questions and I'm ready to roll with as long as Brooke is going to stay here and we're recording this and you
Yeah,
will get the recording later today, about 3 hours. Okay, Frank, I see you. Frank has a hard stop, but we're going to be recording it for you and we will have it recorded and we will answer all the questions and it will be on the recording, the link to which you will get in about 3 hours or so. So look for that email, okay? Frank, I see you. But for the rest of you who are going to hang around, I got you, and so does Brooke. And we got a few more things to get to before we actually roll into the Q&A.
And I think like the next 3 slides are like really quick, so we should be good. This one, when it comes to reporting, like I said, I won't even say reports because I'm not, the reports don't say, but like when you're actually going in, just know that you can get multiple reports in one. So like in this one, if I want to see medium and browser, and then I want to go and search for something, it's a lot quicker to find it, which that part I love. So I can see, in this case, I see the medium, I see the browser, and if I want to go search, I can quickly do it versus having to go toggle between something. So you can manipulate the report. This one, your pages and screens, like this is something that took a while to understand because it was like, oh, I'm trying to find this, it's under a different thing. Just go and find this, like this thing in particular. Now, while it says use vehicles and it says new vehicles, if I want to just quickly see, I want to see all my rogues, I can just go type in rogue real quickly. I don't have to go and look for something else. So this makes these landing pages, and this also has just changed a couple different times. So just if you want to add another filter in this to see, hey, I want to see something else or what device it was bringing in. Once again, these are all easily manipulated and really, really easy to search. One thing I've noticed, just a heads up, over the last couple, maybe the last 2 months, sometimes when I add another filter, when I go to look at the engagement, that it will go blank. If you see that, it's not that you're doing something wrong, it's just a glitch with Google. Just a heads up on that one. All right, so we had talked before about being able to see who owns what, and I'm going to show this in live version as well. But when you go to engagement and then events, and then you type in, let's say in this case I did CTE, that's a brain, but no, CTA, I can see real quickly that dealer eProcess owns this. So I know that the CTA interaction is owned by dealer eProcess. So if there's ever a question of like, hey, I don't know who owns what, whether it's you're wondering who owns the chat or who owns whatever is happening, just quickly go in and see who owns it, and you can see the event owner and change the event owner to whatever, and you can see who owns it. All right, so I want to spend a little bit of time on this one. This is the key of like knowing, is it good traffic? Is it bad traffic? So in case of this, like I have the organic search up here, right? So you see direct, which is direct traffic, but the direct traffic, the engagement rate on the direct traffic is only engaged sessions. Okay, it's 3,000. The engagement rate though is not that great, and the engaged sessions per user is only not even 1. But the organic traffic, on the other hand, drove 3,000 new users. The engaged sessions were almost 4,600. And look at that engagement rate. It's off the charts. Then you go to your display. Okay, well, it's display. So, okay, it's a little bit different. I get it. The engagement rate's not super great, but it's display. So, okay, your engagement sessions per user is not even 1. Then look at this paid social here. Your paid social, your engagement rate is 81%. Your engaged session is over 1. If you go down your cross network, the engagement rate. So this is where I love to start like looking at this and saying, okay, so it's driving how much traffic and how much of that is actually, or social traffic is a little different because it's socials, it's just different how they interact. But you start to look, okay, so the organic social here, engagement rate is 53%, didn't even drive 1 engaged session per user. I'm starting to look at that and think, okay, what is going on with that in organic social traffic? That's when I start diving into it versus your organic search in Bing. And this is something I've seen quite a bit since, Chat GPT and everything with AI. But the organic search with Bing is super, super engaging. So now I'm going to that. And not only that, they're spending 4 minutes on the site. And that's average engagement time. That's just not time on site. That's at engagement time. So I'm going to that dealer and saying, okay, talk to me about your organic search with Bing. What are you guys doing with that? And going to talk to them. But this is where you really can dive in and say, what is happening on my site? And understand with this data, depending on what the date range in, there's a 72-hour delay on this. And if you have thresholds apply, also understand that as well. but really diving in to say, how engaging is this traffic? And depending on the source, is it super engaging? And this is where you can break it down as well. So this is something I really like to spend some time on. If you're looking for that source median report that we all love so much, this is how you replicate it. All right, Google Ads. This has also changed quite a few times to try to where to find it, but you're gonna go to acquisition, overview, and then where the little arrow points here, go to session, and this is where you're gonna find your Google Ads. And once again, one day I logged in, I was like, oh, it's not there anymore. And this is where you're gonna find where your Google Ads are. So this is, wanna make sure everyone knows this. Once again, you can customize this until your heart's content. I wanna see demographics, device, page paths, screen class, whatever you wanna find, it's all right here. And Search Console, same thing. I've seen quite a few sites that out of the gate, maybe your ad agency set it up, maybe your website provider set it up, and Search Console is not synced up with it. So please, please, please go and check to make sure your Search Console is linked up. All you're gonna go under monetization, there's gonna be retention, go to Search Console, and it should be right there. If you do not see it, it's not linked. So go check, don't do it right now, but go check this up. And then same thing, you can go and check to see, hey, what's being searched on what page, and you can do the same thing with anything. I just wanna make sure, I'm seeing this quite a bit where Search Console is not being linked. So just a heads up on that one. And then we talked about geos earlier, that's the word I'm going for. Same thing, you're gonna go to admin, then from admin, the next thing you're gonna go is audience, and then from audience, you're just gonna create that. So they're not difficult to create, it's just knowing how to create that. So for a new geo, you're gonna create a custom audience, add a new condition, search city, like if you're doing a city, if you're doing GMB, it's gonna be a little, Google Business Profile, it's gonna be a little different, but add city, add a parameter, equal, city, and then if you're doing Chicago, it is gonna autofill and just hit apply. And that's how you're gonna create a city or create a geo, but this is where you're gonna go and do this. So that's another thing you wanna check to say, do I have any geos? Because a lot of times I'm seeing that this is not being created out of the gate. Oh. That was a lot, Eliana. I think it's time to do look at some live examples of how to do this, right?
Woo!
I need to take a drink, man.
I have so many questions.
So the question is, based on time, ask the audience real quickly, do we want to get into GA and show this, or do we want to go to questions?
Audience, what do you think? Katie says yes.
Okay. Katie just executive.
She's the only one who said yes. Katie says live examples.
Okay, live examples.
Katie is the only one who wrote in. Katie understood the assignment. Okay, Jennifer says, I have to scoot, great instruction. Aaron says live examples. So we got 2 out of 3 that said live examples.
Okay, live examples.
Jamie says, I have to hop, looking forward to watching the rest of this later. This has been amazing, thank you.
Oh,
Lisa says live, please. Christy says live, please. I don't see anyone saying Q&A yet. So I'd say we do live examples. David also, he's with it, live examples.
Live
All
examples.
right, audience, we're gonna give you what you want. So
live examples. Okay, so this is, I have the client's permission to show this. So we are gonna dive in. So we talked first and foremost, let's find out, I know screenshots are good to an extent, but it's really seeing how to see this. So first and foremost, how do I find those ASC events? So I'm inside of this store right here, and I go to engagement. There's 2 ways to find the ASC events. So I can go here, I can go events, and then from here, hopefully GA4 doesn't freak out on me. No guarantee on that. I'm actually going to close these out here real quickly. And then from there, I always like to take this back a little bit. So I'm going to go back up here, and I'm going to go to the last 90 days just so I have a little bit more. Let's actually, June 29th. And if I go from here and I just type in ASC, it's so much quicker now to be able to see all this. And then I can see that they have 83, I'm in the right thing. They have 80, let's yeah, so now I can see all of these events right here, right? Now, I believe they actually have more. So to me, that seems a little off. So what I would do now is I just go into admin. I'm gonna go into events. And let me know we're going to do fast now. I can now see all these events right here. Now, to me, I'm like, wait, I know they have more. So what I can do now is I can go into conversions now, and I see all of these events right here. Let me take this back here. Actually, I'm going to go 20. They actually have more ASC events. It's just they're not firing right now. Now, the reason they're not firing is a couple things. One, it could be that the vendor business partner has said, hey, they aren't really firing because they are having issues, getting the events sending to them, or it's an issue of, hey, we just haven't done it yet. You know, or it can be caught up, and we'll go back to that Google Gel issue with the voice submission or something along those lines. But you can see all these things are actually turned on. They just they're not flowing into GA4 yet. So that's how you can see that, hey, yeah, I have events, but there are only 11 are actually flowing into GA4. But when I go to conversions, we have them set up. They're just not flowing into GA4 yet. So that's where you can kind of see. Then that's going to take me into the conversions, the custom definitions, the joys of getting all these things right. So you can see in here all these custom definitions, right? So if I wanted to make, not that I'm going to do the same thing again, but if I want to create a custom definition, I'm going to take, I already did this one, but I'm just going to do this one again here. So I want to do a custom definition, right? I do custom definition. I just would do custom definition here, right? We all know that's going to be an event. Now, if I knew that I know that comm outcome is chat, blah, blah, blah. If you don't remember that, you don't remember need to do that. I'm just going to come down here and I'm going to find out whatever it is. So if I have, well, they've got comm phone number here. So let's just we'll do comm phone number. So comm phone number. I'm not going to really save this one. Make sure this is a phone number. I think is what it's called. I'd go like that. I'd come down here. I'd find this one. And from there, you can just save this right here. That's all you would do. I'm not really going to save this because this is a live account, but that's all you would do for this. So from there, that's it. Now you would do this for anything that you'd want to track. Now, please be mindful that there's ASC specs on how to do this, but that's all you're going to do. So whatever you do for one store, just do it for the other ones. Now things are going to change to what you want to track as a definition and a dimension. Like there's an OEM one here. I don't know if this one has it here or not, but there was an OEM one. This one doesn't have it, but there's other ones that may have this, but you can go through and do this for just about anything you want here. There's a price one, like certain ones have price, other ones don't have this, but this is event label. There's little things you can do. Just hopefully that shows you how to do it. If there's any questions, throw them in. I'm happy to show this again. This is recorded, but that's all. It's pretty straightforward on how to do this here. Is that you whatever one you want to track. This in particular, I'm just going to mimic that up there and then hit save. I'm not really going to do this there, but that's how you would do that portion of it. If I want to know, hey, is my Google ad account linked? This one in particular, we have both service and sales as how we're tracking, because that's personally how I think it should be done. But this is how we can see right here, they're both linked there. The other question is, hey, Brooke, how do I know? You said, I want to know who is firing what event. This is a fun one because Google, for like the last 4 weeks, has just decided they're not going to show it. It makes it a little difficult, but I'm going to do my best to hopefully this is going to work. This little triangle, this is the this one makes me not sleep. This is the thresholding one that makes us all want to drink. But let's go into here, and I want to go into, I'm just going to events. I'm going to go to down here. I'm going to go ASC, and let's just grab this. Where's the CTA one? Right there. All right, so I know this is going to say the last 30 minutes, but that's not really a truthful thing right there, but that's okay. So I can go down here. Now I can see down here that the event owner for this store in particular is Dealer Inspire. Now, if I wanted to see if they were looking at a chat provider or something like that, and I wanted to see the comm interaction, let's see if they, I don't know if they're comm. Let me see. Let's see if I can find this here. This is the joy of doing this live here. They might not have it going on here. Well, this one, it doesn't show there. Okay, but if you wanted, if their comm was firing correctly, I'd be able to see that the comm interaction was car now, or if I could see anything like that. But you can go through and see, okay, I know that the website provider is Dealer Inspire. I can see, assuming that during this time frame, that the new was the most popular, used was the second most popular, CPO was the most popular. I can see the page location. So you can go through and see all of this information based on GA4. You can see the price, you can see color, you can see model. Now keep in mind, this is to an extent because of how thresholding just decides to say, we're not going to give you all the information because it's just not fun. You can go down and see item number, you can see item make. So if you had a question like, hey, you know, I feel that Fords are the most popular. Well, actually, that's not the case at all because your Nissans are the most popular on your website during this time frame. I feel that our trucks are the most popular. Well, really based on how it's being brought over, your SUVs are the most popular. Same thing goes with color, or based on, window sticker is, for whatever reason, window stickers get clicked on so freaking much. like so much. And this is where you can go back and say, okay, what button, what text is being clicked on the most? Well, details and window stickers are being clicked on the most. Great. Maybe we should put this a little bit higher up on the page, or maybe we want to put this here. Maybe we want to make another color. But this is where you can go back and say, just based on this CTA interaction right here, this gives you so much information just on CTA interaction. And this is something for me, like I look at this so much just to know, okay, where are we, you know, how are people interacting? But this right here, so much information. And I will tell you that because this is, Google's had some issues on how this is pulls up. So if you can't find it, scroll down a little bit, like it used to be that you could pull right here and drag and drop on this, and you can't right now. So just scroll down if you can't find it. Really, that's something I've had some rough times finding that. The other thing that I talked about was the first events versus sourcing. Right here, you've got engagement, right? And then down here, we've got, where'd it go? Where just lost it here, right down here. So we've got it down here. If you can't find anything, just keep clicking. That's the best thing. Like, where did it go? That's where I may go. Explore. Notice that I didn't talk about exploration and I didn't talk about building reports, and it's mainly because the reports don't save. It's not even worth talking about it. So that's the other thing. We talked about Search Console. This one's got it there. If you're trying to find out, hey, how is my tech working? Like in regard to, is it mobile versus is it desktop? This is where you're going to find it. And this one has caused a lot of heartache lately. I feel like for a lot of people, not Phil, I've seen it, and they're like, wait, why is it not a 19 by 20? This is iPhone. It's almost always iPhone, but that's where you're finding this. I'm trying to think what else.
We do have a couple questions that came in if you're looking for stuff to show.
Yeah.
Aaron wrote in, how do you create events? And Barry wrote in, can you show where trade-in shows?
Trade is going to be, okay, let's go with events first. So inside of events, great question. So events, so if the events are automatically firing by, first off, reach out to see if it's I'll ask, what type of event are you trying to see? Why
Aaron?
he answered.
Yeah, Aaron, if you could write in, oh, he says any.
Anyway, okay, so inside of events, so what you're going to, so if you're trying to create an event, as long as you don't try to create an ASC event, like it's got to be one that's if you're just trying to create an ASC event, they should automatically flow in from the website provider who you would have reached out, let's say a chat provider. The chat provider needs to send that. You reach out to the chat provider and say, hey, I've got like a specific verbiage that like, it doesn't need to be specific, but like, hey, are you sending ASC events? It needs to go to this measurement ID, blah, 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 blah. And then from there, they're going to send it to your website provider. They need to send that. If they're not participating in the ASC data layer in the spec, they're not supporting it, that's going to cause a problem, because what's going to happen is like, so like insurance, I'm not picking on Carfax, but Carfax shouldn't be sending it this way. It needs to come through a different way. So see how they're like right here, that's coming about as event chat. So they're sending it to the website provider, but it's not coming through as ASC. So if you have someone like, if I go back over, before I show you how to create this, if I go back over to conversions, for instance, like we created a bunch of events here, in knowing that at some point these are going to fire, because these individuals, like the voice submission, this is going to fire at some point from the call tracking provider. So what you would do is you would hit new conversion event here, name it. In this case, it's going to be we know that the call tracking provider is participating. So it'd be ASC underscore voice submission. But before you go and do that, it has to be the ASC spec, which is, if you want the ASC spec, I'm more than happy to give it the entire spec, but I warn you up front, it's like, you got to know how to read a data layer and be like way smarter than I am. Eliana, I want to say that data layer is like, what, I think it's like, I don't know, 90 pages long. I want to say something like that. So
Conservative.
Was it Dan? I apologize. Was it Dan that asked the question?
It was actually Aaron, and he wrote back in, he said, so basically event names are like UTMs. Carfax is not very helpful, and I have it, and you are right. So
yes. Yeah, Carfax, I will tell you, Carfax has been on the council, has been talked about quite a bit. They're supposed to be firing. They're working on it. If Carfax is the person that is the business that you're asking about, they are working on it. That is my politically correct answer.
Fair. Okay.
Did that answer
Aaron,
your question?
do you have a follow-up question, Aaron? Anything else that she can show you before we move on to Barry's question? Nothing is coming yet. Okay, so Barry said, hi, Barry. He says, can you show where trade-in shows? Oh, Aaron said, nope, you're being nicer than I would be with Carfax.
Thanks, Aaron.
I like Aaron. I also like Barry. Barry says, can you show where trade-in shows complete trade process or just starting it?
Who's your trade-in provider? That's the first question.
E-auto appraise.
Oh, vAuto is working on it.
E-auto appraise.
eAuto. I don't believe that eAuto is a part of the council. So I would reach out to eAuto and say, you know what?
He says they are.
They are. So I would ask them, oh man, I wish I had access to your analytics there, Barry. But what should happen is it should come across as, I think it's trade in, how does it come across there? I think it's trade in form submission or something like that. I think it's trade in form submission. In fact, let me look right now. Pretty sure that's how it come across. But it should come across as, yeah, it should. Yeah, I think it's called trade in form submission. I think is what it comes across, but it should come across as ASC form submission, I believe is what it's called. Don't quote me on that. Barry, I will get your information from Eliana and I will get you the exact terminology of how it should come across. But that's where it should come in. But once it does, you want to go into your events and see how it's firing on there and then make sure that it is coming across that way. And then you would just search for it. Like with KBB is still struggling a little bit to get it to come across on theirs. Trade pending, what I just saw yesterday, is still struggling a little bit. But eAuto, I have not seen any eAutos come through personally.
Okay, but they are on the council. So Barry already said cool and thanks.
Yes.
And he's looking forward to hearing from you. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
All right. Cool. All right. I mean, oh, here's a good one from Shane. He says, can you rename events?
I would not, because the events are coming through. That's actually how it's being passed to the data layer. So do not rename them. What event is he trying to rename?
Oh, I have no idea. Shane, you write on in when you get a chance. And oh my goodness, look at this. Kevin Hill for the win. So Kevin wrote in and answered, Barry, to your question. It's ASC_form_submission, comma, department equals trade.
Thank you. Thank you.
Form_type equals trade. That's coming in from Kevin, one of our
Thank you,
one
Kevin.
of our attendees. Kevin, rock on.
Kevin, thanks for snipping my bacon on that one. Appreciate that.
Hey Barry, I'll email you once I get off the show, okay? And I have your information, okay? And Barry also says, thanks, Kevin.
Kevin's a bright human.
Yes, he does. All right, so that's all I think, unless, let's just ask, because I know we're way over time, but we still have so many questions to get to in the Q&A section.
Yeah,
so audience, any other questions about the live before we head over to the Q&A section? I'm not seeing any extra questions come in, but I'll tell you what, if you wouldn't mind, if we could go, yes, back to the slide deck, that would be great. And we also have a pretty big prize to give away.
Do we go on that one next?
Yeah, did you forget about that?
No, yes. No, I did not.
Well, audience, I'll tell you what, we lost about half of our audience because we went over time. So you have twice the chance to win this amazing prize. So get to your keyboards, everyone, because it's that time. If you missed it at the beginning of the webinar, I announced that our good friends over at BZ Consultants Group, they're giving away a sweet, sweet prize today. One of you lucky webinar attendees is going to win a dealership digital deep dive with BZ Consultants, an in-depth review to unlock unparalleled insights into your dealership's online dynamics, and expert strategy session to pinpoint areas of growth and opportunity. This prize is valued at $600. It cannot be exchanged for cash and cannot be transferred. But that being said, get ready, get to your keyboards. First person to write in the correct response will be winning this awesome, amazing, incredible, fantabulous prize. That's right, that's a word. Now, I will say this. If you are a vendor, please sit this one out. This prize is only intended for dealership personnel only. We love having you on the show. You're always welcome to be here. But please, don't answer the question, okay? Because I don't know if you're a vendor or not, and I don't have a backup question. All right, so here we go. Good luck, everyone. No, that's not the answer, Aaron. I love when people try and take guesses. Okay, here we go. Good luck, everyone. In Universal Analytics, when traffic was not tagged correctly, it was grouped in a category called Other. But in GA4, untagged traffic is grouped under what category? Let's see. Lisa Paulino, you are our winner today. You were the first person with the correct response. Unassigned was what we were looking for, and you are our winner today. Lisa Paulino, congratulations. She is saying Yahoo! And Lisa, no, it wasn't you. I'm sorry, but it was Lisa. So Lisa, let me know what dealership you are from so we can give you a proper congratulations. Of course, we want to thank everyone for playing along. Huge congratulations to today's winner. And big thank you to Brooke Furniss from BZ Consultants Group for her incredible generosity. And for all of you not named, Lisa Paulina from Wendell Ford Nissan, it's okay. We give away awesome prizes every time we do a dealer eProcess webinar, and next time you might be the lucky name I announce. But for right now, big props out to Lisa. Congratulations over at Wendell Ford Nissan. You're going to be hearing directly from our friends over at BZ Consultants Group. Also, hey, Brooke, why don't you go to the next slide? So I want everyone to see that her QR code is right on there. So if you want to get in touch directly with Brooke, that's a great way to do it. Have her information and keep going. All right. Oh, Aaron, but you didn't answer the correct question. I can't give it to you unless you answer correctly. Okay.
We still love you though, Aaron. Still love you. Lots of love.
I love you, Aaron. Okay. Okay. Next, let's go to these questions. So first question came in nice and early, and I'm just going to go in the order in which they were received. First question came in from Summer. Summer says, do you recommend using device-based versus blended reporting identity to avoid the thresholding and see full event conversion data?
I recommend Google takes a chill pill. That's what I recommend. No, but I would. I think the council. And is Kevin still on? Kevin, I'm trying to do this from memory here. I believe we decided to cancel to go device based. I think is what we decided on. And I'm honestly trying to do this from memory, but it was a while ago we decided on. So I believe it was device based is what we decided on. And I'm honestly trying to do this from memory here. But yeah, I believe it was device based.
Kevin says this is before my time. Sorry.
Kevin, you know, I'm actually going to double check real quickly on this one right here because this one I know we set up correctly. So I'm just going to double check right now. But I'm pretty sure we decided on device based on this one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did device based. I will double check on you, but I'm pretty sure we decided on device based on that one. If it's different early on, I'll let you know. But I'm pretty sure it's device based we decided on.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Summer, if you have a follow-up question, let us know. Okay, next question comes in from Melinda. She says, I cannot get the www.analyticsboosters.com website to load. I don't know what that means.
The boosters website to load.
I don't even know where that question came from. Melinda, what do you have
Davis?
for me? It is.
Hi, Melinda. Are you talking about, help me on that one, Melinda. Are you talking about the, God, I'm trying to think now. I'm totally spacing right now. Is that the back end of the, God, Melinda, I'm literally doing this on the fly right now. Boosters. Man, it's been a while since I've done that one. Give me a second here. Melinda, can you expand on that for a little second, if you're still here?
She said you shared the UTM article.
Oh, that one. Oh, yeah. It won't load. Give me one. Oh, that one. Give me 1 second. Let me share it in the chat. Give me 1 second. That one. I was very confused on what you meant there. I will share. If you don't grab the exact one, it will not work. Give me 1 second. Oh, stand by. I'm just going to share it in the chat. I'm going to share 2 of them in the chat. If one doesn't work, you can grab the other one. I think I can do chat. Can I do chat in this?
Yes, you can do chat and just put to all when it says who you want to send it to.
Hold up. Well, I've got to find where chat is in this thing.
It's at the very, very bottom of the GoToWebinar interface.
There we go. Stand by.
And see how it says all entire audience, and then you just plop it in there and push send.
Organizers and panelists only.
Yeah.
There we go.
I mean, if you send it to me, I'll send it to everyone.
All I have is organizers or organizers and panelists. I don't have the option for both.
Okay, send it to me.
Okay.
I'm the organizer.
There you go. It's getting, there are 2 things in there.
All right, and I will send it to everyone. Cool. All right, here we go. Bam. All right, done. Okay, thank you, Melinda. Great question. Appreciate
Thanks for being that attention. I'm super appreciative.
Okay, next question. Let's see. Not a question, statement. Brooke is awesome. Totally agree. Okay, next one. Jennifer Sanford says, next time, let's have a fireball each time Brooke says something cute like willy-nilly. Also agreed. Okay. Okay. Sharpie says, what if you check them off by accident? Can it be corrected? So I think he was talking about the custom dimensions. Remember how you said, don't just willy-nilly click. Oh, I said willy-nilly. Click all of them.
We're talking about this over here, right? You're talking about, hey, can I go in and do this one? Yes, you can. Just like this, see, I unchecked it right here. You can just go and uncheck it.
Oh, fantastic. All right, yep. Sharpie, great question. Thank you. Okay, next one from Katie. Katie says, you mentioned if you turn Google Signals on too soon, that it will mess things up. So when can you turn on Google Signals? Or when would you recommend?
It's honestly, thresholding is gonna kill you anyways. It's not gonna kill you. It's gonna be the stress you out regardless. So if you turn it on a year ago, because let me try this one more time. It came out that, hey, we need to migrate everything over, and then we migrated everything over, and it threw off our analytics. Then it was, don't turn Google Signals on too soon, and we all turn it on. So if you turn it on too soon and you did it, it's going to be okay. If you turn it on now, it's going to be okay. It was just more or less trying to contain as much as possible the headaches of Google Analytics 4. So I say that to, if you did it a year ago and now you're like, why is this not working? And everything, our thresholding got all screwed up. It's probably because you did it like a year ago and now everything's screwed up, or you migrated too soon. So hopefully that answers your question. Just trying to mitigate the amount of headaches of the transition of migration over to GA4.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. We need more of that. Okay, so Katie, thank you so much. If you have a follow-up question, let us know. All right. Ooh, question came in from today's winner, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
She said, okay, so I asked her to expand on her question. So there's a couple of these. Okay, so she first started off with, which should be marked as conversion-ASC form submission or form submission by departments. And so I said, are you asking which is the best use case for those two? And she wrote back, there is ASC form submission, then there's also ASC form submission sales, ASC submission parts. Should the one without department be marked as a conversion, or all the department ones? Also,
Yeah,
should the department form submissions add up to the one with the department? If so, what is wrong if they don't add up? Okay, I see what she's saying. So you have
awesome
like,
question.
right?
Yeah.
Lisa, and she's gonna be so excited for your dealer
Yes.
deep dive. I forgot which word I'm missing.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna go to another account here. Where is this account? Oh, it's not. I'm in the wrong. I am in the wrong. I can't get over. I'm in the wrong account here. So great question. So this was something that I mentioned before how we're in 1.0 spec, right? And what we noticed was that the form submissions are being double counted, and it's causing a lot of frustration and agita, to say the least. And it's because that we're seeing that it's counting twice. So when it comes to the conversions, like this one in particular, I haven't touched this one because I'm working with the ad agency and the dealership right now. But you'll see right here where form submission, this shouldn't be turned on because these two would automatically be counting it. So when it goes, I will all but guarantee this is not counting correctly. But these two right here are barely coming through. Like this one's coming through and this one's coming through. This shouldn't be turned on. Like these two over here should be turned on. But so there's talk about saying, should it be department or should like the vendor name come through? So that's what we're trying to figure out right now with the ASC Council, to say, well, should the name come through because these are double counting, or more 99% of the time it's double counting. So to your point, Lisa, if I'm you and I'm setting it up, I'm not marking this as a conversion. What I'm doing is I'm doing this one, and like the appointments down here, but I'm not going to mark this one because the cells and parts are automatically going to tell you whether it's a cells or part. You don't want to be doing this one as well. If you do that, I would be shocked if they are coming up to say that they are they're going to add up to be the same. Hopefully that answers your question.
So Lisa is seeing that they're not adding up.
Correct.
To the one total. She says,
No.
thanks, by the way. So that's
Yes.
not unusual. So
No.
they're still, okay.
No.
Got it.
Yeah, that is 100% correct. And that is across the board. I have yet to see any account that is doing that. Yeah, like case in point, like you'll see right here, how does 6 add up to 22? It like even the 1, 5, and 0, that doesn't add up to 22. It doesn't. It's
No,
things
it
are getting
doesn't.
double counted. Yeah.
Okay. So we had this question from a couple people, and Brooke, this might be the time to make this right. So Frank wrote in, and Jace just wrote in too. Will you be sending the spreadsheet link?
Yes.
How am I going to get it? That GA4 tracking.
I will do it right now.
Send it to me now. I will share it, and then I will have it.
Yes.
Okay, Jace, I got you. Okay, so while she is looking for that, we have another interesting something from Kevin, who wrote in, by the way, with definitions versus dimensions, definitions is just the higher level. You can define a couple of different things. Let me see, I can't expand this, so that's annoying.
To Kevin's point, exactly. It takes everything to a much higher level. It gets way more robust. Your reporting's on a whole different level.
Reporting's on a whole different level, so we want that. Oh, dimensions and metrics. Okay, thank you, Kevin. Appreciate all of the extra stuff that you're sending over. Okay, so this is the link to the GA4 spreadsheet.
And please copy it. Bag of you.
Yes,
please copy.
Do not use the live. Okay, I'm gonna save it too, so I have it. All right. So if anyone is not seeing it, email me at eliana@dealereprocess.com and I will get it to you personally. Okay, but I will also try to share it other ways. Okay. Okay, Julie, thank you for this question. Can Dealer eProcess send the ASC events to more than one GA4 property? Brooke?
So, okay, say one more time. Make sure I understood that.
Can dealer eProcess send send ASC events to more than one Google Analytics 4 property?
Yeah, so you're just gonna have to reach out and say, I need these two. So case in point, where we don't have views anymore, what I am seeing is multiple businesses make their own property. So it's almost like they're becoming views again. So if I get in and I say, okay, ABC website provider, they made a property. Well, the dealer's like, well, I don't have editability, so I want to make my own property. This is going to be, and then I'm going to make sure that this is the end all be all property. Well, the website made their own property, so now they're telling, all right, website property, this is the end all be all. Agency ABC, this is the end all be all. So now they're telling all the other vendors to say, I want everything being sent to this property. Well, the website's already sending everything. So in this case, we'll say it's dealer process. Dealer process, we want everything sent into our property. Well, they already made their own. Now you have your own. Do you just tell dealer process? You're telling your chat provider, you're telling your, everything is now being sent to your own. I mean, I have clients right now that have three or four properties right now, and everything, they just have to make sure that they're telling, all right, I need everything sent into this property.
Okay, Julie says that's exactly the situation. So Julie, just contact if you're with DEP, contact your account exec. Let's get this handled for you, mama. Okay,
Yeah,
I'm sure they'll get to it right away, right? Okay, Julie, thank you so much for bringing that up. Okay, next question. Oh my gosh, this is hard. These are all really good questions. Okay, we only have 3 questions left unless another one sneaks in. Okay, do you have any recommendations? I'm sorry, this one comes in from Hannah.
Hi,
do you have any recommendations on how to get Cox to have proper ASC events fire? 3 months later, their team is still, quote unquote, working on it for products like KBB and their VR tool. What do you know, Brookie Brooke?
A lot of, okay, so when it comes to KBB, they are still working on it. That is 100% true. They are still working on it. When it comes to their VR tool, in fact, let me just go to the WhatsApp right now in live time with you all on here. My phone has actually been blowing up as we're talking about this. Let me just go. I will tell you in live time the latest with, I think it came in yesterday from Cox Automotive about, let's see if I have anything update. Their VR tool, what do you have, dealer? What website provider do you have? Who, I think it was Hannah that asked this.
Yes, Hannah.
What website provider are you using? If it's dealer.com, it should be firing. If it's any other website provider, there's the issue.
Then that would be the issue. It's not dealer.com.
Okay. If it's, in fact, if it's Dealer Inspire, I have a message here saying that they're looking into it. If it's pretty much, if it's a Cox Automotive site, things are going to fire a lot easier. If it's a non-Cox Automotive product, they are working on it. And I unfortunately don't have a better answer than that. And I literally just have a message from yesterday morning that the accelerated dealer, I believe, is their DR tool, and they're looking into it. And KBB is still looking into it. And I think that's even for Cox Automotive, it's even for dealer.com.
All right, Hannah, do you have a follow-up question? I'm here for you. So is Brooke. Okay, she's not writing in yet. Okay, so, okay, Grant wrote in and he wanted to know, when you were talking about the geo piece, could we set up our stores PMA within the geo?
Hell yeah, heck yes. Sorry about that. Caught myself.
That was a hell yeah, Grant, just in case you missed it.
Without swearing. I caught myself. Yes, the answer is yes. Yes. So what I do with my stores, it's like the old UA where you'd have geos in your account. So I always ask my stores, what are the 5 top geos? The caveat to this is how iOS works. With phones, especially iPhones, is that while I used to live downtown Chicago, now I live in a suburb, most iPhones are going to recognize that my phone is in Chicago, even though I'm not in Chicago. So just be really careful wherever you live, that your PMA may say, here are the 5 suburbs, but your #1 traffic source in Google may look like Chicago. So you may want to include Chicago because that's how it looks. So yeah, you can definitely put your PMA in there 100%, but it's going to be based on city.
Should you put your PMA in there?
Well, my question to you would be, what did you have in UA? I would track the same thing you did in UA. You always have like those top 5 cities you want to track. You don't want to overhaul it. What I do is I put the top like 5 cities that I want to track, because those are the ones that are really bringing me traffic. I'll also have like an outlier. Like I have a couple of stores that for some reason, I honestly, what I'm finding, it's how Google and iPhones are tracking things, and it's this random outlier city that keeps pulling up. So we're throwing that in there to see, is that going up? Is it down? And why does it keep doing that? And Google ads keep being shown up as being served there. We can't figure out what's like a random warehouse area. It makes no sense. So we're tracking that as well. And it's not in their PMA. So I base it on analytics. I'm really analytical. So I go back to, your top 5 cities, track those top 5 cities. And then if you live in a metro area, I track the biggest metro area because it's most likely going to show up. And I want to know, because it's a lot of times they're really not there. It's just how the iPhones are being brought in.
Got it. Interesting. All right, Grant, thank you. That was a really cool question. All right, great answer too, by the way. Okay, couple questions, then we're going to close out the show. Christy says, are there new benchmarks for GA4 that we should be looking for? Engagement rate, engagement session per user, etc.
Yeah, when it comes to, well, the engagement, all the engagements are there. To say, is there a benchmark? The ASC Council is not saying, hey, this is now the new whatever. I still go back to, what does success look like for you all? When it comes to, I think, I don't want to go against, I think when George was on here, I want to say he said like 70 or 80% was engagement or something like that. I don't want to go against what he was saying. I just look at, what does the engagement look like to me? And that's what I'm going to measure. Your KPIs. And so for me, engagement's great. For me personally, in my stores, that's a portion of it. Engagement's a big part of it, but I'm still going to look at the impression shares and loss to market, to budget, things like that. But when it comes, Google hasn't came out and said, all right, here's your engagement, but here's what the benchmark is. And the ASC Council hasn't said that. And honestly, it's too new to say these are the benchmarks. Yeah, hope that answers your question, but at this point, there hasn't been a hard and fast rule to say this is the standard.
Interesting. All right, Christy, do you have a follow-up question? Get it in. Appreciate the question, though. I love that question. Okay, today's winner, Lisa, wrote back in. Last question of the day, unless another one sneaks in. Collect universal analytics events. Should this sucker be turned on or off?
I'm sorry.
Collect universal analytics events.
I'm spacing that one. Let me go back into here and see what I would get with your website provider and your ad agency. Don't check it until you talk with them, because they may be the ones, and unless Lisa, I don't know your situation. If you're the one that does marketing, advertising, you're a one-stop shop and do everything. If you have an ad agency and a website provider, talk with them and ask if they are the ones doing that. Most likely it is, in fact, they are collecting it. It's almost 99% that they are collecting it. Just before you check it, ask them. That is my answer, my politically correct answer.
Okay, and Lisa, you should totally do that before Brooke does her deep dive. What was it called again? A dealership digital deep dive. There you go.
It's called awesomeness is what it's called.
All right, Lisa says thanks. And I also say thanks. That was epic. I am exhausted, Brooke Furniss.
So am I.
Fantastic presentation. I want to remind this amazing audience a link to download a copy of today's webinar recording along with the deck is going to be emailed to you later today for your reference. So please check your email for that. Share it with your friends and colleagues. Today's webinar is also going to be posted online within 24 hours. Go to dealereprocess.com/webinars to view our upcoming webinar schedule or access any of our past webinars too. And at the conclusion of this webinar, in just another minute, you're going to get a short survey. It is 3 questions, people, and we want to know what you thought of today's presentation. So please provide your quality feedback. We'd love to hear it. We want to know what you thought. And the other 2 is like a free offer. You know, one's a free offer and one's like, hey, do you need more information? So we're here for you, and we'd love to know what you thought. And you can catch up with Brooke Furniss at the upcoming Digital Dealer Conference in Vegas, baby. Are you going? I'm going to be there. She'll be on a ridiculously large panel on the main stage talking about solutions to new tech, new problems that come with it. And they're here to solve all of your new tech problems. So it's a not to be missed presentation. So if you're going to be there in Vegas, don't miss it. Put it on your calendar now. And like I said before, Dealer eProcess will also be exhibiting and presenting at the Digital Dealer Conference too. I will be leading a think tank on dealer operations and leadership. And our CRO, Gino Ciparroni, he's going to be on the Dealer Vendor Exchange on the main stage, as well as at the Hosted Dealer Program. Now, here's the trick. Stop by the Dealer eProcess booth, 1603, and ask to hear about our connected retail platform, and you're going to be entered into a drawing to win a Louis Vuitton purse valued at over $2,000. And if you pre-register for your demo, you can double your chances. We're going to give you 2 chances to win that purse, all right? You can find out more at dealereprocess.com, and I hope to see you there. And invitations will be going out soon for our next Dealer eProcess webinar. It's going to be Thursday, October 12th. And our CRO, Gino Ciparroni, is going to be stopping by to tell us about digital marketing power strategies so that you can finish 2023 strong. And it's been a hell of a year, hasn't it? So let's close it out on a high note. So this webinar is going to discuss the power moves and game-changing advertising strategies that you can use to maximize your online presence and propel your brand to success. So attendees of this jam-packed session are going to learn how to drive demand through conquesting and demand gen, how to leverage your first-party data to optimize your campaigns and your website customer experience, and how to leverage data-driven insights to optimize conversion rates and achieve impressive ROI. So come for the cutting-edge digital marketing tactics, stay for insider tricks and actionable insights. Don't miss this opportunity to gain a competitive edge and enhance your brand's visibility and have a strong finish to 2023. So put it on your calendar, Thursday, October 12th, 1 p.m. Eastern. You can register at dealereprocess.com/webinars. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding our webinars and our topics, I'd love to hear from you. Contact me, Eliana at dealereprocess.com, or reach me anywhere online. I'm everywhere. And for right now, it's time to say goodbye. Brooke, you ready? On behalf of the amazing Brooke Furniss and our great friends over at BZ Consultants Group, as well as all of my amazing coworkers at Dealer eProcess, please allow me to thank you all so very much for spending this amazing amount of time together today. I hope to see you all on another webinar in our continuing education series. Take care, everyone. And Brooke, I will see you in Vegas, baby.
So we'll see you then.
I'm going to see you on Friday. I'm going to be on her show on Friday. So stop by her show. Facts, not feelings. Love ya. Bye.
Bye.